Hey, welcome back, Rankers. We interviewed this guy last week on Beers, Blokes and Business. Went up live yesterday. So go and have a listen to that on Beers, Blokes and Business. Darren Rouse, pro blogger, needs no introduction. But I'm going to give him one anyway. Anyway, really famous professional blogger, very successful bloke, based in Melbourne, known him for years, great bloke. Anyway, after the show, he said to me, here's a funny thing. This guy gets 5 million uniques a month, right? Pretty impressive. He said his organic traffic had dropped off a little bit from one of the sites, the Digital Photography School blog. And I said, I'll have a look. And so I did. And this is what I found, and I've just been chatting to his developers and himself, and we're just working it out now and getting things fixed. But basically, what I did was I went and did this search. So I've said site colon and the web address, and I've said minus in URL colon forum. Now the reason I've done that and I've had that on the end there is because the site Digital Photography School has a lot of forum posts, massive forum. Like the site, I think it's got about nearly 400,000 pages indexed, or something like that, something ridiculous. And so I didn't want those cluttering what I was seeing, because he was saying it only seems to be new content. The new content doesn't seem to get ranked as well. It doesn't seem to get as much traffic from Google, at least anyway. The older content's been fine. I thought, oh, that's interesting. So the first thing I did was I just went into Google and looked at the Google index. Didn't have access to Webmaster Tools. So I've gone in, had a look at the Google index. I've said, don't show me posts from the forums. And I've said, just show me stuff that's been indexed in the last 24 hours. And what I came back with then was these posts. Now you may see something here. You can see here, there's 3 posts here that are all the same essentially. By Simon, and then this one doesn't have the by. So then you start to look at the web addresses, and you can see here one says staging.digitalphotography. Digital photography. So right there we've got a staging domain. So we've got this whole site replicated at a subdomain which is for staging. So first thing is what you've got to do. There's probably I think it was about 20,000 pages at staging, so it's relatively new. It doesn't have the age of the other stuff. So the first thing you've got to do there is robots.txt, that whole site, and also no index all the pages. The reason that you do both, because it says, well, if you've got robots.txt, surely that stops the robots coming in, right? Not all the time. Google doesn't always obey the robots.txt. Google will probably deny this, but I'm telling you from experience and from what we've seen, sometimes Google gets to stuff that you don't expect it to, as I mentioned last week. So the staging site, get rid of that. Robots.txt, no index. So if Google does get past the robots.txt for whatever reason, it will see a no index tag and no index it. Then the other thing here is, okay, so we've solved that one, but what are these two here? So you go and have a look here, and you can see, this is this one here, tips to help you prepare for a successful portrait session, and this is the post here. Now you can see, wait a minute, they look different. Oh, no, they're not. They're not different at all. Or are they? Yes, they are. I'll let you in on a secret. They're different because of one /, and that's right on the end here. You can see, just see it there. Portrait session /. And you go over here. Oh, not there. Now you might say, well, it's the same thing, Jim. It's not. Not to Google, not to the rest of the world. They are 2 separate pages. So what we've found here is that every new post that goes live, it's been published at 3 addresses. It's been published at the one with the // and without the // and the staging. So Google's not going to rank that. For starters, you've got this interlinking between all the pages, linking like in the site navigation, all those sorts of things. You've got the same piece of content available at 3 different addresses, so it can look a bit spammy. Probably not going to hurt a brand like Digital Photography School, but it's going to downplay it. It's going to go into, say, some panda flags will come up because you've got a bit of duplication there. So is it a good experience for a user? where was it published first, which one did Google find first, all those sorts of things. And then, of course, it's like, well, how do you make a decision of which is the most authoritative of these posts? How do you make a decision? So all of those things are going to take Google a while to decide if it should actually rank this content at all. Probably not, I would say. And from what Darren was saying, new content wasn't getting the traffic that it used to. The other thing that one of his developers was saying to me, he said, yeah, but with that / one, I'm looking at the code here, don't freak out on me. He said, we're using the canonical tag. So, and the canonical tag is, there it is there. There's the canonical. And canonical just means you're telling Google that, hey, if you find this piece of content at a different address, the original address is actually here, / right? There you can see it right there. And then, on the other one, you can see this is the one without the /. You can see it also in the canonical tag has the /. And Mario, the developer, said, that should stop Google doing that. And I said, yes, it should. But plainly, it hasn't. Google has ignored that canonical tag altogether. And Google does that sometimes. So, don't do it. Don't have / and trailing slashes. Because just having the canonical itself ain't going to cut it. So in this situation, we've said 301 the non-trailing / to the trailing / one across the whole site. And that'll take a few weeks for a lot of the old content to come back up. But all the new content that gets published should be fine because you're eliminating all those. A couple of other things I saw with this site and the code. Normally, you can see there's line 7. You wouldn't have your page title down at line 52 in the code. The reason is that it's a long way down the code. Typically, you want to get that up higher. You want that to be usually up here, straight after the HTML, straight after the head tag. The first tag that you want to see is the title tag. Probably don't want to have this JavaScript in the page either. Probably want to put that in a separate file outside. These are all things to tell your developer, so don't get too hung up on any of this stuff, except go and do this search. And you can see here I've said I only wanted to see the content in the last 24 hours because I wanted to see how Google was indexing. This is a really useful search, and I highly recommend that you use it because it can tell you things about the way that Google not only visits your site, but what it thinks it's worthy of indexing. And you should have all your latest content in here. If you've got nothing here after 24 hours and you've published something within that last 24 hours, you've got a problem. In the case of Darren and this site, I asked him, he's doing 2 to 3 posts a day, so that looks about right, except for, obviously, the duplication. Hopefully that's helpful, and we'll see you next week. Thanks very much. Bye.